Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment, and welcome back to Fast Fridays. This is the April Money Race coming to you today with the Xfinity cars at Daytona. My name is Ron Mullins. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Jeremy Briggs. Howie Burrows is our producer for tonight's show. Jeremy, welcome in. This is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We have a 30-lap long race, a 50-lap long race in front of us. It's going to be a short one, but I think we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun.
You said it right there. 50 laps is the distance here at the good old Daytona International Speedway, the 2.5 mile. We all are very familiar with this place. It's going to be very tight racing. $150 is on the line. Extremely high stakes. We'll see if these drivers can play it cool to the end. 50 laps is the distance. It's going to be short and sweet, and those drivers towards the back are probably going to try to be getting probably pretty desperate here quickly to try to make those moves to the front.
Yeah, we may end up seeing some drivers pull some moves that are maybe not the smartest in the world, but hey, we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun in this race that we have coming up, 50 laps long, as you said. And currently in the midst of a warm-up session right now, these drivers looking to get their bearings straight before we head off into this race that we have coming up. Some pretty good prizes on offer for these racers if they do well. Some cash money in hand, and also a pretty nice trophy if you do grab that checkered flag. $150 in cold hard cash, to be a bit more precise. And all the drivers that you see out here on the racetrack fought their way into this race here tonight. As we take a look at the Gatorade victory lane. Hey, Gatorade, if you're tuning into this broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment, we certainly wouldn't mind it if you threw us a couple of bucks. Increase the cash prize for some of these fast money races, but still, this is going to be some fun, Jeremy. I think tonight is just going to be the night of plate racing with the Xfinity cars. It's coming up later on this evening. We've got the action from the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series. They're going to be running at Talladega. That's going to be a pretty fun race as well. But I think we can actually load up the starting grid for this race that we have coming up. And we have to burn through some of these drivers because, my, oh my, we have a lot of competitors running here this evening. So we'll get that starting grid loaded up here in a couple of... Oh, I saw briefly flash up there, and here we go.
It was a teaser.
Talon Smith in the number 51 car will start this race from the pole with an absolutely beautiful livery, which may be burning out my retinas if I see too much of it here tonight. Starting in second is going to be Vinny Tigner in that Ryan Blaney Dent Wizard car. Starting in third, another one of those burning-eyed liveries. It's going to be Daniel Solo in the number 13 car. All saying hello to our producer, Brendan Argino, will start this race in fourth. Starting on the third row, we are going to have Jared Davis in the Ford machine and Logan Wilson starting in sixth. Starting right behind in seventh and eighth, we have Braxton DeWeese and Dwayne Corbett. And starting right behind them, rounding out our top 10, we will have the number 11 of Lars Chenoweth and Justin Bennett.
And just outside the top 10, you got Nathan Peacock with Taylor Alto right there in 12th. 13th, John Connor. 14th, Trevor Crosswhite. 15th, you got Kingsley Nuko. 16th, you got Carter Casey. 17th, you got Michael Curhan. 18th, you got Christopher Law. 19th, Kyle Crandlemeyer. 20th, you got the John Michael Dunningham. 21st, you got Michael Flores. 22nd, Dylan Butler. 23rd is Jonathan Sellers. James Polsky is in 24th. Jacob Ryan in 25th. Jake Harzini in 26th. 27th goes to Thomas Silva. 28th, Daniel Selway Jr. 29th, Braden Langley. And rounding out our field in 30th, Mickey Adams.
And those are going to be our 30 starters for this race that we have coming up. You can see those pink cars sprinkled through the field, so to speak, and very thankful we are running in the night. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure the light reflecting off of those cars would probably burn our retinas out. But Howie is going to be enjoying the sight of those cars, and Jeremy, we're just going to be enjoying the sight of some pretty good racing here tonight.
Oh, man, this is going to be an awesome race. I'm so excited to see this go. We got some big names in here. DeWeese, he's a driver that's always up in the front. Curhan starting there back in 17th. That's a driver we're familiar with. Sellers, there's just a lot of big names in here. Coming from the back, it's going to be crazy to see. But up front, you got Talon Smith.
Yeah, and Smith is going to lead them to green here in a couple of moments' time. Our producer, Howie Burrows, letting us know that Talon is a 7K I rating driver. Very quick here in the sim. Let's see if he's going to flex his muscles in this race that we have coming up here tonight. That pace car making the turn to come down pit lane. The field now in the hand of our front row sitters. A green flag is out, and the drivers are on their way. Let's see how this first lap goes. A black flag already for Vinny Tigner. Not sure if that's going to get cleared or not, but as these drivers head their way off side by side down into turn number 1 and 2. Now I wonder how this first lap is going to shake out. That inside line shortening out a little bit already. I think Vinny Tigner actually picked up a start violation for all that. So I don't believe that black flag is going to get cleared, and that is going to be a really tall order for them to get down to the bottom end of the track and come down pit lane to serve that.
Now, he does have 3 laps to serve that penalty, but obviously you want to get it done sooner than later, especially with this pack starting to build speed and momentum. They're going to be so far behind. Potentially lose a lap here early on. We'll have to see how it plays out. But right now, the whole field, 2 by 2, about 20 deep.
We saw some drivers already going 3 wide coming out of turn number 4. Not sure if that's the smart call at the very beginning of this race. Maybe towards the end, may see some 3 wide action through the tri-oval. But as these drivers continue to bump draft each other, Talon Smith still at the front of the field. Vinny Tigner running in third is leading the high line at the moment. Marcus number 16 on our ticker is running the number 12 paint scheme out there on the racetrack. It's a matching duo of Talon Smith and Daniel Solo running P1 and P2 at the present moment in the 51 and 13 cars respectively, but it is still very close. Tigner, I believe, has got a black flag cleared in all of that. As speaking of getting cleared, Argino nearly trying to get clear of Tigner.
Oh man, bumps are starting to get a little squirrely. Trying to count right now, I think I'm seeing 5 pink cars in the field right now. So a lot of cars to pay. Oh wait, nope, it's us. As wow, really squiggly on that top line there for Daniel Solo, trying to get on that top line to get it to work. Vinny Tigner up there as well. Excuse me, Jared Davis trying to push. So many drivers trying to get to the front and from the back. Like we said, it's 50 laps. We're coming around to get lap 2.5 going here, so long ways to go. But obviously, drivers trying to get up towards the front.
And these drivers looking to get the start of this race done and dusted with as quickly and as efficiently as they possibly can. 3 laps coming to 4 this time by. The drivers a little bit farther towards the back, going 3 wide, trying to play me like a fiddle. Right as I was saying, these drivers want to get this early stage of the race done and dusted with without any further incident. They're already risking it for the biscuit, going 3 wide, coming out of the tri-oval, down into 1 and 2, and some wall slamming as well.
Oh man, about 4 or 5 cars back here. They are three wide, and man, that is creating some crazy moments. We're just this early into the race, and people just starting to get familiar with these cars right now in this bigger pack. Yes, they practice, but not as this big of a pack, and they get such runs. That middle lane trying to push through. A couple drivers trying to get that third lane running. Oh, tight squeeze right there through 3 and 4.
There's still 3 wide, a little bit farther in the back. Look at that pink car on the outside line. That, I believe, is potentially Lars Chenoweth trying to get a move done on the high side. That is going to be a real risky maneuver heading off through the tri-oval. Let's see if that ends up working. I'm not sure if that's a smart strategy, but hey, we need to realize that there is no time left in this race. We're already a tenth of the way through. Is banging doors. That was nearly an accident. Hang off through
Incredible
1 and
save.
2 in the high banks. Very well held.
Incredible. Wow, I cannot believe that he saved that. I did not catch who that was, but that was an incredible saver. Logan Wilson there is the driver that had the save, getting a weird push there, trying to get that third lane working behind him. Not sure who that driver was, but they did. Oh, we got a wreck here in the back. 25 involved.
Oh, and that's a big one heading off through 3 and 4. Look at that. Multiple cars getting wiped out in this collision. You can see one of the pink cars that I think is a 60, the 25 hitting the wall. They were at the center of that incident. I think they got torn up the worst and all that. That was Brandon Langley. We're going to take a look at from his perspective following him through this collision. Thankfully, these drivers do have one faster pair at their hands, but either way, you'd prefer to go through this race without using that single faster pair. And it was contact heading through 3, bang into the wall, hit yet again. That 25 car took a pummeling in that incident.
Oh, and I believe there's still more wrecking under yellow here going down the backstretch as we're watching this replay.
Yeah, it would not shock me if we do have some drivers getting involved in some tussles. Yeah, there you can see it coming out of 1 and 2. Clearly, these drivers getting accustomed to the red mist very early on into this race. Brandon Langley, who we saw involved in the midst of that big one that brought this first yellow out, he has had to come down pit lane to repair that race car. But we are 6 laps into this 50-lap long race. The first yellow's out, and we find this first yellow with Talon Smith in the race lead, Vinny Tigner, but a black flag cleared after a incident at the start of the race. It's currently slot in second, Daniel Solo, running out off the race. It stands at the present moment. But are we seeing these drivers come down pit lane? I think we may be seeing some drivers come into the pits. We do have unlimited tires to these drivers, so I guess it doesn't hurt them at all to come down pit lane as we take a look and see some of this 3-wide action. The racing really started to heat up right before we had that incident.
There's a Logan Wilson machine. So much to unravel here. Just so much going on. Drivers are getting hungry. We're not even 10 laps into this race, as we got chaos on pit road.
Yeah, pretty much the entirety of the field deciding that now is the time to pit. I say the entirety of the field. There are some exceptions. The front two of Jared Davis and Dylan Butler in the 4 and 58 cars, respectively, they have stayed out. And through that pit cycle, Vinny Tigner in that 16 machine was very slow through the pit stops, dropped down from it was P2 to what would be net P4 as a result of the two drivers at the front staying out. I don't really hate that call, though, if I'm being honest, Jeremy, from Jared Davis and Dylan Butler to stay out.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the fuel situation here tonight, but we'll have to see if those drivers that stayed out can make it the distance. So we'll see if maybe these drivers that think they were close on fuel, but 50 laps in Xfinity cars, I don't know. I'm not sure if they can, if they can make it, but we'll have to find out here. I'm sure there might be more cautions along the horizon as this field is getting bunched back up.
I will say it is a fixed setup that all these drivers are running here in this race, and I'm not sure whether it is a fuel-limited setup. I will look for further word on all of that. Actually, looking through, it is max fuel here, so 100% fuel allotment to these racers. So that is going to be not that big of a deal for them, not too big of a conundrum to have to worry about as we take a look at a moment for the 25. That's what brought the yellow out as contact, heading through 3 and 4. Spun him into the wall, bang. You can see that first impact, and then the 83, the two pile driving into the 83. That was a big stack up to create that incident, but that was what brought this yellow out. I've seen some drivers come through pit lane. I believe Nathan Peacock was one of the other drivers involved in that incident, but nonetheless, we'll note on the subject of fuel, no fuel limits for these drivers, but we do have 3 green-white checkered attempts that we may end up seeing rear their ugly head at the end of this 50-lap long race as well.
As we were under that yellow flag, also the 88 was reporting that his wheel was disconnected, and that was the reasoning for those drivers getting piled up on the backstretch there. And hopefully he's got it all straightened up, and we can continue on here with no of those wheel issues as the field's getting double piled up. I believe we still have 28 drivers in the race.
And still 28 drivers left to tackle the remaining 41 laps of this race once we get it restarted here in a couple of moments' time. Jared Davis and Dylan Butler will occupy your front row. You can see them in the 4 and 58 cars, respectively. They stayed out during this first yellow of this event here on Maconi Entertainment tonight. And to all of you tuning into this broadcast, if you're enjoying what you see thus far, happy to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss out on any of the racing action. Still got some more action to look forward to from this race, though. We are not even we're not even a fifth of the way through this race. Still a long ways left to go. For Jared Davis and Dylan Butler, though, I wonder how they're going to go about this. They didn't see it. We didn't really see them too much, and they didn't get a chance to run up at the very north end of the field for that initial start. But now that they're at the front, I wonder if they will savor this opportunity to stretch their legs out.
We'll see how it plays out for these drivers up and in the front, as a lot can unfold, but we'll see if this strategy works out for them, as they're going to be leading us to the green. Here comes the pace car down pit road.
And it is the first restart of this race here this evening. Had that yellow for a big one all through 3 and 4, but before then, as much as the racing was intense, it was rather clean. Let's see for this first restart how it's going to go. The green flag back at the drivers back up on their way. Jared Davis in that 4-car again off to a tremendous restart. Maybe got to clear the 58 of Dylan Butler on that high side, heading down to 1 and 2. Looks like he will do it to the two drivers who decided to stay at, briefly running by themselves, but now we've got a bit of a tandem involving Talon Smith and Daniel Solo. They're now right behind Jared Davis in the number 4 car. They may try and do a bit of a shimmy shammy as Jared Davis is continuing to try and block off as many runs as he can.
That top lane getting really organized here down the back stretch. The 58 of Dylan Butler is going to take the lead here into 3 and 4. Obviously, the top lane is the longer way around, but it carries the most momentum around this track. We'll see if he can lead this lap as they come out of turn 4.
Yeah, and coming to complete the first fifth of this race is going to be Dylan Butler in that number 58 car, leading it at that lap 10 mark, going down to the inside line, blocking off the run from Jared Davis in the 4 car. Those two were the ones that stayed out of the pits. Vinny Tigner, though, in all of this, he was a driver at a really slow run through pit lane. It's actually worked out rather well for him. He's leading that high side in the present moment. Dylan Butler not close enough to try and block off that run. They're still side by side, and down that back straightaway. Most of the field side by side throughout the entirety of this race. That inside line, I'm not sure if that number 58 of Dylan Butler really has the legs to lead that inside line too well. Ever since he got up to the front, that inside line is kind of stalled.
Just kind of sitting there, like you said. It's just, you got to have a lot of the cars behind you organized as well. And speaking of organization, I see a lot of pink cars starting to get lined up on that bottom line. As you can see, everybody's starting to push here. Pipes got flames coming out of them as everybody's checking up.
Lots of these drivers playing that cat and mouse game that you see whenever we're running a plate race in the world of NASCAR. You can see the flame coming out of the pipes. These drivers having to give and take, give and take, give and take. It is a balancing act that you have to manage in these plate races, whether it be in Cup, Xfinity, or trucks. That same game is played just at a different level of speed. These drivers having to lift off, take those runs, back out to get those runs. It's a game that these drivers are going to have to play from the drop the green flag all the way through to the fall of the checkered. We'll say, though, that top line kind of deteriorating a little bit. You can see a lot of cars running on that inside. Outside of the, I'm looking through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe it's only 11 cars running on that top side at the moment, currently being led by Michael Kern in the 55. He's getting a bit of a bump from the number 29 of John Michael Dunnigan. So that is looking like a good duo at the front of the high side, but at the same time, not a lot of cars up there.
Just able to carry a little bit more momentum when they come down here into 3 and 4. As a driver, sometimes I do know that you can kind of, the bottom lane kind of checks up going into 3 and 4. Oh, we got one getting sideways. Are they going to hold on to it? Wreck it again.
Oh, and that's a big one. Holy cow. You can see the 29 car involved in all of that. That right there was John Michael Dunnigan. We saw him running in P2 before the field blew apart yet again through 3 and 4. We're going to take a look at a replay to see what has brought out the second yellow of this race. Jacob Ryan in the number 42 car has gone involved in this incident as well. It was some pretty mad bumping between the 29 and the 55. And look at that, checked up a little bit. The 50 hit him, and then just a big stack up afterwards. Holy cow, that took out a lot of good race cars.
Just nowheres to go, and having a wreck earlier on. How many of these drivers with meatball flags are going to be able to continue on? It was another big wreck involving quite a few cars. Looks like we maybe got 20 cars still going out of the 29 starters.
Yeah, so still a decent chunk of the field running in this event, but certainly two big ones going to thin out the field a little bit. So we're actually hearing from our producer, Howie Burrows, that John Michael Dunnigan in the number 29 machine actually, in the midst of all that, blew his motor up, pushing too hard, and that big stack up, because we saw that 29 car basically stalled out on that high side, created that stack up that caused that accident. Blew up the motor. I got it. That had to have been overheating, because unless there was some weird iRacing thing where he bumped him and it somehow popped the motor, which I don't think would have happened. That had to have been some sort of overheating issue.
And the drivers were driving pretty aggressively here as we got unlimited tires. Looks like quite a few of the drivers, once again, coming down pit road. And this is another play in the strategy. Like we said, we don't believe fuel is of any issue. So if anything, it's damage or tires. As Daytona's a little bit tighter corners than Talladega. But right now it looks like we got 3-4 cars staying out, maybe 5.
Yeah, and that's a very good point that you raised there, Jeremy, talking about the differences between Daytona and Talladega. The top 7 staying out in all this. Talon Smith, still your leader of the drivers who have come down pit lane. Dylan Butler in the 58 car has now joined them, but the likes of Michael Curran, Jared Davis, who stayed out yet again. Daniel Solo, who came into the pits during that first round of stops, has stayed out this time by Dwayne Corbett in the 36, Logan Wilson in the 76, Carter Casey in the 17, and Kingsley Woko in the number 63 have all stayed out in this pit cycle, so they will occupy your top 7 spots. But the point that I was going to raise, Jeremy, you brought it up very well, talking about the differences between Daytona and Talladega. Talladega is higher banked, 1 lane wider, and is also slightly bigger. Comparing the two, it may not seem like too much on paper because they basically have the same layout, but in driving them, you can really feel the difference.
And you can use a 4th lane at Talladega. That's another insane factor. You can just, everybody can go at it, and that 4th lane really leads to some chaos, and it's just a little bit wider. But I like Daytona. It's very nostalgic to me, especially here under the lights. Lots of grip. We take a quick look at the weather. Temperature right now is 72 degrees. Track temperature 73. So plenty of grip for these drivers. Only a 7-mile-an-hour wind. 100% on the humidity. So nothing too erratic there for these drivers tonight, as it's pretty much just gas it and go for that $150.
I will say the humidity being as high as it is, these drivers have to feel like they're probably running through at the present moment, but waiting for this restart. They are now coming to the green next time by Michael Curran and Jared Davis are going to occupy your front row. Davis in the number 4 car. We saw him restart this race at the front last restart. Did you see anything from that number 4 car, Jeremy, that really blew your socks off, or was he just kind of a car on camera? Was there anything that really stood out to you about the 4?
Nothing as of yet, but we're definitely going to keep an eye on every driver in the field, because these super speedways can equal out the whole field, and anybody that's running right now can have a chance to still win it. And I think it happens on that last lap sometimes, and it's just a blast to be here and watch these drivers try to figure out how to navigate this race. You know, only being 50 laps and already having 2 big wrecks 15 laps in.
Yeah, and I wonder what that's going to do for the minds of these racers, having 2 multi-car pileups in the first 15 laps of this 50-lap-long race. What is it going to do to these racers? Are they going to maybe take it a little bit easy, or is that allure of that 1 meter tall or 3.3 foot tall trophy and $150 just a bit too strong to lead these drivers to be a bit kooky, so to speak?
Absolutely right there, Ron. It can make it when you see dollar signs in front of your face. It's like the dog chasing the meat when he's on the treadmill.
Yeah. I feel like there's a joke to be made about me as a young kid having to lose weight, so my dad stuck a Twinkie onto the end of a fishing rod and put it in front of me. That is a very disturbing mental image. Sleep tight, everybody. Anyways, we're about to get this race. I honestly can't necessarily blame you for that, Howie. You haven't seen me as a kid, though. Holy cow. I look like someone stuck a bicycle pump onto me as a kid. Anyways, let's get this race restarted here. 15 laps on the board already, coming to 16 this time by. That green flag is back at. The driver's back on their way. It's a 55 car of Michael Curran on that inside line, leading us back to green. Daniel Solo right behind in that very striking magenta number 13 car, going to be running in tow as well. Look at the likes of Talon Smith, though. He was the highest of the cars that came down pit lane during that last yellow, and let's see how that number 51 is going to cut their way back through the field. Kingsley Kingsley Woka. Oh, that's a driver pulling out of line. Not sure who that is. Going way down to the inside. That may be James Polsky, I think.
Not sure if he pulled out of line to just get out of the mess or if something happened right there. But still clean and green. Looks like he's still up to speed. So maybe just drop into the back. Right now we've got 2 cars, 1 lap. No, we got 1 car a lap down, 1 car 2 laps down. Excuse me. Only 1 car, 1 lap down. The rest are off the track right now, going laps down. 4 drivers are out of this race.
Yeah, it's still been a smooth one up to this point for a lot of these drivers. Have had to use those faster pairs, though. Only 1 allotted to these racers, so any more extracurricular drama, and you may end up seeing these drivers drop like flies at the front of the field, though. It is still side-by-side racing all throughout the pack. You can see them fanning out nearly 3 wide, heading down that back straightaway. I wonder what is going to break here. Are we going to see Jared Davis in that 4 car really mount a challenge, or is he just going to be stalling out that outside line a little bit, not really able to pull alongside your current race leader of Michael Kern, as we have a beautiful shot of the faster pairs that these drivers have used. Kingsley Nwoko in that number 63 is the highest running of the drivers who have had to pick up their faster pairs, currently running in 8th as it stands, still very early on into this 50-lap long race. But Michael Kern is your race leader. Jared Davis trying to mount a challenge on that high side.
Right there, so close yet so far. Just trying to get that outside working. Oh, block there from the leader of Kurhan, but that brings the inside line to his inside. Can Kurhan lead the outside line now?
And now that we have this blocking game going on, we start to get into the danger zone, as I like to call it, in reference to these plate races. Once you have drivers swapping sides, hanging around this track like they're flipping burgers, you're going to find yourself with a car potentially flipping. That's usually a recipe for disaster. I've seen enough NASCAR races where some drivers have gone for some rather bold and audacious blocks at the front of the field, where it's end up in a lot of them stacking their way up. But as it stands presently, they are still running smooth at the front of the field. Most of these drivers still running in this event. A bit of breaking up farther towards the back. But outside of that, the front pack of this field is still an absolute hornet's nest.
Definitely a little bit more of a couple stragglers here at the back than previous. Not as bunched up as tight. Maybe these drivers realizing, oh, as I say it, we've got 1 sideways and a yellow flag is out.
And the 3rd yellow of this race coming out on lap 19. Not sure who that was, stacking it up through 3 and 4. I think it was James Polsky in the number 93 car. We were talking about him a few moments ago. He was not the driver that pulled out of lane, but he is a driver involved in this 3rd yellow flag causing incident of the day. Let's take a look at it here, Jeremy. This was as they were heading down the back straightaway off into 3 and 4.
Oh, trying to maybe sneak it in there 3 wide. No. Oh, just did somebody blink right there? I'm not sure why. That was a lot happened very quickly.
I'm not sure who that was in the other number 2 car that was blinking in and out of existence there. I have to imagine that that's part of the reason why that happened. That can spook a driver.
Yeah, especially when you're on their bumper. Push, let's see, he's going to go 3 wide. Stays behind this car. Looks like that's the 60 of Kyle. Oh, just a weird push. Deep in the field here.
Oh my God, you can see the 2 car there. That was Kyle Cranmeyer in that old Brad Keselowski Miller Lite car, actually. Can we say Miller? I guess we can at this point. We're just talking about that sponsor of the car. We aren't sponsored by them, although if they gave us some money, we certainly wouldn't be turning that down one bit. Now, would we? That Brad Keselowski tribute car of Cranmeyer, that was a huge hit. It was probably about 5 or 6 feet up into the air was the back end of that race car. Lots of these drivers stacking up big time as we have a lot of them coming into the pits.
Pit road busy once again as we're just a couple laps away from the halfway mark. Looks like everybody from P14 back came down pit road. Looks like John Michael Dunning. I can't say his last name. I heard Ron say it. Dunning. There we go. And he's now back on the lead lap after having his motor blow and getting that fast repair. So we'll see if he can march back towards the front.
I feel like John Michael Dunnigan's name sounds best with a British accent. So let me, I first off will apologize in advance, Howie. John Michael Dunnigan we have in this race, and that was the worst British accent I think has ever been shared in the history of iRacing broadcasting. So upon that, I will say that these cars still pacing around, probably going to hit this halfway mark, either under yellow or right on the restart. We have already gone through half of this race already, and these drivers have already, some of them have already gone through 100% of their fast repairs.
Yep, a lot of drivers having to come down pit road every single time, trying to get things fixed up, trying to get going and be prepared. And there's probably not a lot of fast repairs left in this field. That's all I can say right now.
Yeah, we're going to reach the points where these drivers are going to be running out of the fast repairs and dropping down the running order. You can see the top 7 have not used their fast repairs. Kingsley Nwoka in the number 63 is still the top running of the racers who have used their fast repair, currently slotted in P8 as it stands at the present moment. But outside of the top 10, you look, one fast repair used, one fast repair, one fast repair, one fast repair, one fast repair. A lot of these drivers have had to use those fast repairs. That's the thing with the big ones here. Even though we do have those fast repairs available, you will eventually run out of them. And when that happens, yeah, get involved in an incident and you have to spend 15 minutes down pit lane just repairing the damage in order to rejoin the race. Yeah, you're not going to be too keen about continuing. So we will end up seeing this field get thinned out a little bit if we have more of these big ones.
As we have the field doubled up, coming to the green. Looks like DeWeese has a EOL there. Not exactly sure what that penalty is for, but he'll be starting from the rear. It looks like he was just on pit road for quite a while, getting repairs, almost 2 minutes in the box. A lot of drivers with damage. A lot of drivers are out now, too. Looks like we have only 22 drivers left in this field. 23, one a couple laps down.
Now, I do want to raise one point before we get this race restarted here, Jeremy. I wonder, now that we are getting to the point where we have had 3 big ones, we haven't hit the halfway mark quite yet, will these drivers decide to take it easy? I feel like that's a very stupid question because these drivers are looking for a pretty good prize at the end of this, so I think the answer is probably no.
If we take a look here at DeWeese, he hasn't used his fast repair yet. He's trying to get as much damage as he can without getting that fast repair just yet, but obviously you can see quite a bit of damage there. That might thin out our field. You know, some of these other drivers out here with damage as well. You know, they don't have as much pace. The field starts to kind of string out a little bit. Maybe the upfront racing will get a little bit more dicey once they realize the field is starting to break apart. Still, a lot can happen as we will have about 27 laps to go when we come to the green.
27 laps left in this race, and these drivers hoping for the race to finally settle into some sort of groove. We've had a green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow cycle up to this point, and now that we are rapidly approaching upon that halfway point, I wonder if these racers are going to say, you know what, screw it. As much as we are fighting for a pretty good prize at the end of all of this, I just want to be there at the checkered flag to finish first. First, you have to finish. I've read that in a fortune cookie before, and let's see if these drivers have it printed on their steering wheel. The green flag back at its solo at the front of this field in that number 13 machine. Switching down to the bottom lane, he is going to be getting a bump like hell from Michael Kern in the number 55. Actually, Kern is on the outside line. That's Logan Wilson, the number 76, giving a bump to Solo. My apologies there, folks, but still at the front of the field, actually a little bit disjointed on this restart.
Solo driving that high Howie, number 13 up front right now. That is a nod to our director. And if you look no further back, there's 4 more high Howies on that top line trying to get it up and get it going. They're slowly but surely creeping up there. These pink magenta cars are taking over.
Yeah, those magenta cars sprinkled all throughout this field. It is, God, I gotta feel bad for the spotters. I would usually say feel bad for our producer Howie, but it's cars with his own name on them, so I don't think Howie's necessarily complaining about that one bit. Still got a pretty good race going on at the front of the field, though. Solo and Wilson running nose to tail. That outside line really broken up at the moment. You could see big gaps between all of those racers on the high side. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to mount any sort of charge at the present moment. They just don't have the numbers. They don't have the momentum as it stands presently.
A big bump right there going into 3 and 4 for the back of Daniel Solo. I believe he's getting pushed there by Dwayne Corbett. Oh, we're 3 wide. We got one sideways.
Oh, well, hello!
Big
Contact!
wreck in the front.
Big one heading down into the tri-oval. Multiple cars getting caught up in that upside down. That right there is a 55 car, and that was a huge incident heading down into the tri-oval. The fourth big one of the day happens right at the halfway mark. The 3 of Taylor Alto, one of the cars involved in all that. We're going to load up a replay. One of them was upside down. That was a 55 who had a wild ride heading down at the end of that lap.
What a wreck coming here to the tri-oval. Looks like we had the 7 got to the side of the 63 right there. It just gets all crazy. It looks like the 36 got spun as well.
Cow.
That was Curhan, one of our leaders, was upside down.
Yeah, Kern in the 55 car hitting the wall and just getting clobbered upside down. Let's take a look at his perspective and all of that as we re-rack it and follow this into a lot of stuff going on here in the span of a couple of moments. There's where it all started in the midst of that. You can see the number 36 car there in the midst of all of that. It's very fitting that the car of Corin there had had Days of Thunder tribute scheme on that race car, because as it stands at the present moment involved in that incident, he hit everything apart from the pace car and all that. Tough moment for all those drivers involved, but the 55, that was some aerial acrobatics that I can't necessarily say I wasn't expecting heading into this race, but I didn't place money on it either. But we have our first flipper just past the halfway mark.
Right past the halfway mark. Still a lot to unfold, and man, one of those Magenta's cars was just trying to squeeze in there. It looked like 3 wide, just did not work out. Still a lot to unfold here. I believe these cautions will now be quickened up as we've had multiple large wrecks here. Just getting to the halfway point.
Yeah, so that is 5 cautions in the first 25 laps of this race. It started off rather good, but ever since the second yellow, it has really been green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow. So we are shortening up these yellow flag periods, and I believe we are actually coming to the green flag this time by, which I think is a good call. To try and get this race a bit more settled down. Hopefully the drivers can catch up to the field. We are seeing these drivers come into the pits every single time they can, which maybe it's just me. I feel like is a little bit overkill. But you know, that's just me. It's like, I'm trying to think of the best way I can describe it. It's like every single time that you grab, I don't know, like a chip out of a bag, you go and wash your hands completely. Just do that every single time. Bit of overkill after a little while. So I think having these shortened yellow flags up is probably going to be a good strategy to get these final 24 laps up and rolling. Logan Wilson is going to be leading it. Daniel Solo is slotted to join him on the front row. I'm not really sure what is going on here at the present moment. That outside line, the outside slot on that front row is just completely blank at the present moment. I believe that is Jared Davis's for the taking, as we are now coming out of 3 and 4. I think he will re-rack it at the front. So I was kind of worried there. I was like, do we have a car that's just hovering around the track about 50 feet in the air out of our camera view? Nope, that was just Jared Davis lying back a little bit. The green flag back at, ready to get the second half of this race underway. Logan Wilson in the number 76 car brings us back to green. Daniel Solo in the number 13 car looking to get some moves done. Talon Smith, who we haven't really talked about in quite some time, is slotted in 4th at the present moment. We need to keep an eye out on Talon. Our producer Howie Burrows mentioned this throughout the earlier stages of this. Very quick driver, and I have a feeling that we will be seeing that number 51 car running at the north end of the field between now and the very end of this race. Lap 27 now as they head their way down that backstretch.
Boy, this field looks a lot different. I gotta say, Jared Davis having little to no help up there. Doing a good job trying to hang on to that outside line, as these drivers are pretty much just all lined up on the bottom. Just a couple of drivers peek out to the outside, but not really nose to tail. So that's not very productive. We'll have to keep an eye on this and see if anybody decides to just go to the top and make it work, or if everybody's just like, you know what, we need to get to the end here. Let's just single file it out.
I feel like with the drama we've seen thus far, it may be a smart call just to single file out, settle this race into a groove, just be there at the end of the race. There's no point being and banging and roughing each other up, battling for the lead on lap 30. You need to be there on lap 50. That's what pays out at the end of this race. So let's see how it's going to shake out. Still a lot of time left to go in this event for these drivers. We got a duo pushing that Solo and Smith bumping each other on that high side, giving each other the tandem draft. I wonder if this is going to work out. Will they be able to clear that bottom line coming out of 3 and 4? Are they going to stay hooked up together on that high side? Nope, they're coming down together. That was a little bit close for comfort with the front of Logan Wilson's car. Holy cow.
Oh, we got him wrecking. Oh, they held on. Holy cow, we had cars sideways.
Whoa, there they go.
There it is.
That's a 7 of the 29 of John Michael Dunnigan getting involved in that jump. I believe that was James Polsky, who we see in the Justin Allgaier 7 car. That was contacting down to 1 and 2. That has brought the yellow out. You can see that 29 car. Golly, that could have ended in tears. But then it's that second bit of contact. The 29 car got nearly spun coming out of the tri-oval and then got spun yet again heading off into 1 and 2. The 29 car, call his luck at the beginning of that lap. The filled-in snake pit at the zoo, he really did not have a pit to hiss in.
That 29 currently, I believe, has a black flag. I'm not sure what it's for, but a lot happening here with that 29 car, potentially a pit road violation. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and just so much unraveled right there with this smaller field. So as the field now gets bunched up behind this pace car, they'll come by pit road this time. Everybody will pit as they get the 1 to go signal. So try to speed this up with about 20 laps to go.
Yep, and still waiting for that 1 to go signal from that iRacing pace car. They have been the MVP up to this point, have set the pace ever since they dropped the green flag, so they're still running good at the moment. But I will say that duo of Solo and Talon Smith, I think I was in the midst of mentioning that when those two got linked up. Those two, they may be the shake and bake drivers in this event. I think they're going to be rather inseparable.
I believe they're going to definitely be hard to beat. You are completely correct there, Ron. And see if this works. As I believe the pace car lights should turn off this time.
Looking through, survey says I would do a drum roll, but I don't have a drum kit right by me. The lights are not out on the pace car, so we'll be going to green. Not this upcoming time by, but the time after that, potentially.
There it is. Pace car lights are now off.
Right as I said it, playing me like an absolute fiddle is the iRacing pace car. It's just trying to troll me for the comedy's sakes, I feel.
I believe the 29 car is stating he was having to wait for a car to pass him on that green, so it might have been a passing under yellow penalty, waiting for a car.
And those black flags have been getting racked up quite a lot. There's no race control giving penalties. These are just the ones that iRacing are giving out. So that is something to raise as well. So thankfully, though, race control will be able to clear those black flags as they have now just done. Gotta say one thing. I will say something else as well. 31 laps left in this race, and look at how thinned out the field is at the present moment, Jeremy. Lots of these drivers getting involved in multiple incidents have used as
taking the road course,
running the bus stop. There we go. That's beautiful.
Just making sure car can go left and right. Your super speedway package.
I thought we were gonna see a Brad Keselowski thing going on there, just driving around little fart circles.
I'm on fire.
Yeah. I was fully expecting that for a sec. I'm on fire. Oh, God. Now I'm getting flashbacks to Richard Petty in his final ever race. Grab the fire extinguisher. Can't say the actual words here on Maconi Entertainment, but I'm pretty sure the clip, one of the most iconic clips I gotta say from NASCAR, one of the funniest clips. Richard Petty, grab the freaking fire extinguisher. That is always a clip that will stay embedded into my head for as long as I am a fan of motorsports, which, I've been for my entire time, probably will be for life. We better not miss Friday Night Lights. Well, it's Friday night under the lights action here at Daytona for Fast Fridays, and back up at the front of the field is that bright magenta car of Daniel Solo. That 13 machine running strong at the north end of the field, has been running very good ever since it dropped the green flag, along with Talon Smith. Those two running P1 and P2, giving each other the bump. That is a sign of true confidence. Those two able to link up together and just push their way to the front.
Said Solo, Smith, our leaders. Can they get this top line to work? I believe that's Wilson up on top. Oh, he's on bottom, sorry. Got my cars all mixed up. That's Carter Casey trying to get that top line to work. There we go. I got it finally.
And don't worry, it happens to the best of us. Sure, we got a lot of different cars in this race, and under the lights, it's still going to be some fun between now and the checkered flag. 32, now 33 laps on the board in this 50-lap long race. Daniel Solo led them last time by. I wonder if Talon Smith is maybe going to size up a move in the not-too-far-off future. He's been comfortable. I think he's probably going to wait until the dying breaths of this race to really go for a move. I think doing it now would probably be a bit too early, considering the chances of us having another 3 yellows between now and the end of this race. Can't say they're high, but I can't say they're zero either.
Look at that top line. Really starting to get kind of organized and slowly but surely chipping away, getting up to that lead. And if they keep it up, plenty of time left. They might be able to save their tires a little bit as well. We'll see how it plays out.
And still waiting to see how the rest of this race is going to shake out. Some 3-wide action involving the 29 just there in the back of shot. That, I believe, is 3-wide action with John Michael Dunnigan, John Connor, and Vinny Tigner. That may end in tears. Definitely got to keep an eye out on those racers as they continue to push their way through the middle. This is some bold stuff from the driver. Just got spun to bring out the latest yellow this race. Fighting hard in that midline, making a 3-wide out of nothing. That is some bold and audacious stuff from the number 29 of John Michael Dunnigan. Some drivers being and banging bumpers and banging doors, heading through 3 and 4. That 29 car has a monstrous run. I'm not sure whether he has rocket fuel or nitrous in that race car, but the 29 really hauling the mail. And saying the fastest lap of the race last time by was Lars Chenoweth in the number 11 car. Lots of cars are saying that now is the time to kick on the Hyperjets. I think they finally realized that these Xfinity cars have 4 gears, and they finally shifted into 4th.
Oh, that's right. These cars do have 4 gears. I'm so used to 5 with the next gens. I always forget that, not looking at Xfinity cars that much. As like you said, looks like the gears are definitely shifted and they are really pushing. John Michael Dunnigan not messing around. He was up here at the front earlier, blew up, went a lap down, now coming back to the lead.
Yeah, and here we go. John Michael Dunnigan, after getting spun out and... Whoa! That could have ended in tears. Nearly had a case of deja vu coming out of the try over there a few moments ago. The 29 car, he's going to get hung out to dry on that outside line, scraping the wall. Everyone said, hey, thank you very much for pulling me up to the front of the field. You can go now. Thank you very much. That number 29 car been rather unstable in this race, and I think these drivers have just decided, you know what? No, we're done. So that is going to be enough of that. So the 29 car gonna get shuffled back. We have just an absolute gaggle of pink cars at the front of the field. Got to hit the books to try and come up with the right phrase, but we have a lot of them at the north end.
Almost feels like there's a T-Mobile sponsorship out here tonight, but it says Hi Howie instead. So Howie's got his name on about 5 cars tonight, and they've been up towards the front most of the night. And right now, these two are not going to mess around.
And getting word from our producer, Howie Burrows, it's Team JoCal at the front. We got a flamboyance of pink cars at the front of the field. Yes, I had to look up what the correct technical term for a group of flamingo was called. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. But we got a flamboyance of Team JoCal cars at the north end of the field. Those magenta, hot pink. Oh boy, that could have ended in tears for the 29 car. Ended up on the wall, heading down into 3 and 4. You can tell that because I sound like I was speaking in, I don't know, pig land there a couple of moments ago. The 29 car has been oh so sideways. That's what we need to keep an eye on him. If we're going to have another yellow between now and the end of this race, I think it's going to stem from the 29. They're shuffling around this racetrack.
John Michael Dunnigan is a man on a mission, not messing around, trying to get back to the front after getting shuffled to the back after that incident where we blew up apparently. Now going 3 wide again. Sounds like other drivers are getting upset with him on the radio.
As you can see, these drivers continuing to shuffle their way around. The tension is building. You can cut with a knife. It's that palpable. This is really, really starting to heat up as we approach the final 10 laps of this 50-lap long race. These drivers looking for $150 and a nice tall trophy to greet them when they pull that car into victory lane. The real question is, what car are we going to have pulling into victory lane? As the laps go on, I'm feeling more and more confident with the number 17 of Carter Casey. They have a great run on that outside line, heading down into 1 and 2. That Lucas Oil number 8 car, the number 17 on our ticker. He's quick at the present moment. We may need to keep an eye on the 17.
We can see another car trying to jump up to that top line with some momentum, trying to give everybody a push. 4 magenta cars up there, and you got the lonesome Logan Wilson kind of in that sandwich there with the number 76. Trevor Crosswhite up here running 5th. Vinny Tigner, he's still in this race too. He's just outside the top 5.
And Vinny Tigner, we haven't really talked about him too much ever since the early stages where got down pit lane. It worked out pretty well for him, and ever since then it didn't really work out too smoothly for him. But now he's back up inside the top 10, running in 7th as it stands at the present moment, albeit it being a place race that can change in the blink of an eye. But Vinny Tigner in that number 16 car still involved in the discussion, and who knows, you're looking at Casey James Busher winning the Xfinity Series. Well, at that point it was called Nationwide Series race here in 2011, went from 11th to 1st, heading through 3 and 4 down onto that start finish straightaway in the Tri-Oval. Was able to win that race after entering 3 and 4 in 11th. So anything can happen at the end of these races, and we have a lot of tension, a lot of angry drivers running with passion, running with emotion to try and get to the end of this race and grab that checkered flag first. 41 laps now into this 50-lap long race. Daniel Solo and Talon Smith in that flamboyance of 2 pink race cars at the north end of the field. They are still the drivers I'm keeping my eyes on.
10 laps to go in this 50-lap event. So much still to go. That's about 25 miles if my math is correct. I'm not very good at math, so we'll see how that goes. As they continue to try to... We're both bad at this. This can never be good. I'll never do that again. Try to help somebody. Oh, almost 3 wide right there. That 29, though, John Michael Dunnigan trying to push on the outside. He's that 4th car on that outside line.
And still running strong as it stands at the present moment. These drivers turning up the wick in the late stages of this race. We're going to get to the point where I have a feeling that Talon Smith is going to say, hey, thank you very much, Daniel. I'm going to let you go now. We may end up seeing those drivers break up at the front as much as they may have very similar looking race cars, as much as they may be teammates. As 3 wide action heading down into 3 and 4. The 29 car looking to get a run on the high side. Will anyone join him? Look at the 83 car maybe going to follow. He's in the wall though in the 29. That's not going to work out too well for John Michael Dunnigan. Oh, that is a slow car coming at turn number 4. They're going to drop back. I am very surprised that didn't result in a massive pileup coming out of the corner.
These drivers know these laps are now ticking down. They're starting to get pretty aggressive with those pushes. They definitely got to make sure they're paying attention to those engine temperatures. We had one driver blow up towards the front early in the race, and that was earlier on. So these drivers are probably trying to make sure to keep just that little bit of space. I bet you with 4 laps to go, it'll be bumper to bumper to the end.
Yeah, it's going to be rush hour traffic at a steady click of about 150 miles an hour. These racers are going to be under a whole lot of pressure at the end of this race. They're fanning out a little bit farther in the back. I'm still going to keep my eyes on the number 29 car because they've been dancing around this racetrack with all of the energy of a rabid pigeon. They have been running around this track, flying around this racetrack, running all sorts of different lines. That may be a driver we have to keep our eyes on in terms of potentially bringing out a rather game-changing yellow, just based off some of the sketchy moments they've had thus far. Would not be shocked if there's more. 3 wide. Yeah, you've proven my point to a T. 3 wide hang off through 1 and 2 at the front of the field. Daniel. Oh, contact down the back straightaway. That right there is Brendan Argino involved in all of that. I think Kingsley Nwoko got a piece of that action as well. That was actually my apologies. That was a Peacock involved in that incident. My apologies there. Those are the 2 cars that got involved in the drama coming out of 1 and 2, but it has not brought the yellow out. They spun to the inside. They're back up and rolling. The green flag's still out. Now with 6 to go.
6 laps to go. You can see all the flames shooting out. Drivers getting in and out of the gas, trying to get those runs developed. You can see these pink cars really have not been able to get back together. The leader of Daniel Solo, you can see almost maybe trying to shade a little bit high there just to try to get a better run on exit as he gets a push from Talon Smith. Those 2 drivers have been stuck nose to tail all night long, trying to do everything they can to try to break from this field. But Carter Casey is not going down without a fight.
Yeah, Carter Casey in that Lucas Oil number 8 machine, marked as 17 on our ticker. They're quick. They are very quick at the moment, so let's see if that 8 car is going to have the speed to bring Carter Casey to victory lane at the end of this race. Some banging doors. Look at the 29 car trying to make something work, maybe sticking a 3 wide with the 12 and the 4. Oh, that's not going to work at all. Look at that. That's contact down into 1 and 2. That's a 12 car gang up into the wall. More drivers spinning around. That's going to bring a yellow out. I am sure of it, and there it is, the yellow coming out.
Well, to see how that all panned out right there, let's take a look at this replay. So much stuff unfolding. Oh, let's see. We got the 12 right there in the middle. It's just hard to point the finger at anybody that was just kind of racing, you know. The 29's just been pretty aggressive all night.
Yeah, the 29 car has definitely been one of the more aggressive racers at the moment, but that was... I mean, I understand we're getting to the end of the race. You want to try and get some moves done, and you feel like you have a fast car, but sticking a 3 wide where you have about 3 feet between the 2 cars that you're trying to stick a 3 wide with, there's only one way that can end, and that is desperately, desperately wrong. Vinny Tigner coming into the pits. They have repairs required with that number 12 car, so that is going to take them out of contention. And all of this yellow coming out, that is passing the pace car. That may not be too good for Daniel Solo. I think, thankfully, letting that pace car back by, so no problems there. So that's gonna be good for Daniel Solo, but I'm gonna bite my tongue on that moment with the 29. They still find themselves in 6th at the present moment. But with that level of aggression, if we do have a green-white checkered coming out, we may end up using those 3 attempts.
We'll have to keep an eye on how many attempts we got here tonight. As the way that they're driving, it looks like we got 3 available. We really don't want to use all 3 as time is winding down. Pit road is open this time. Anybody making decisions can go now, but we're going to probably get the 1 to go signal when the pace car comes to the start finish line or just past it once race control can make that decision.
Still hoping for a good one here. We're going to get him re-racked. So this is not going to be a artificial green-white checker. This is still going to be within regulation distance. The first green-white checkered attempt of this, and it will be a natural one to anyone who hasn't tuned into an oval broadcast before, doesn't know what a green-white checkered is, which if you're tuning into this broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment, most of you probably know what oval racing, but I will still say it just in case. We're going to get the restart underway, and once they take the white flag, the next flag will end this race. If they don't make it to the white, though, we got another yellow. We will re-rack it and undergo the first of 3 green-white checkered attempts that we have. So we are still in regulation distance at the present moment, going to be getting this race restarted with 2 laps left to go. Then we'll be able to get into those green-white checkers. But this is going to be It's going to be hectic for sure. It has been a race of drama. These drivers have been sticking to 3 wide where they probably shouldn't, sticking to 4 wide just for the hell of it, and bump drafting like crazy. We've seen some tandem drafting that you'd only see in the 2010s, some aggression that you'd only see from some pretty wacky racing, but this is going to be a fun restart. Very much so not envious of these drivers' blood pressure, though.
Yep, we'll have our... Actually, this is going to be a natural green-white checkered here. So right here at the end of regulation, it's going to be right at the edge. And, yeah, we're going to see who's going to make aggressive, bold moves here. Looks like we got 18 drivers with a chance to still win it. Even though they're damaged, they're right in front of them. You never know.
Yeah, we're going to have to look to see who's leading this race and if there's going to be any sort of being, banging, and roughing each other up in the back of the field. A big one would send us into those 3 green-white checkered attempts. This is still a natural one, still in regulation. 48 laps now in this race. 2 to go this time by the green flag back at those 2 who have been just about inseparable. They're running strong. A big checkup on the inside. Some drivers hitting and scraping the barrier. Coming out of the tri-oval down into turn number 1 and 2, looking all throughout this pack to see if there's any sort of drama. The front 2, though, of Daniel Solo and Talon Smith, who's now dropped down to 3rd, they've been inseparable throughout this race. They've been insufferable to their competitors with how quick they have been, but now you've got the likes of Logan Wilson getting involved in all of that. He is going to potentially break him up, and look at that Solo jumping to the outside line, hopping onto the high side, gonna get a bump from, that's Lawrence Kenilworth in the number 11 car, is going to be given the bump right at the end of this race. Some drivers going side by side and 3 wide all throughout the field. Look at the 29 car in the midst of some drama, being banging and roughing each other up, but the white flag is in the air. Only one more lap of racing action here at Daytona, and you got 3 team cars of Solo, Kenilworth, and Talon Smith all battling hard. As much as they may be teammates, with $150 and a 3-foot-tall trophy at stake for these drivers, we may end up seeing these drivers abandon each other. Look at that. That's some fanning out. Heading onto the back straightaway for the final time. Those drivers coming up blows at teammates, making contact, scraping the wall. Talon Smith has spun out of all that. Some drivers going to the infield. Multiple cars getting caught up in all that drama. Lawrence Kenilworth still in the race lead, spinning big crash. Heading off through 3 and 4. That was an 8 car getting turned into the outside wall with a pretty sickening blow. But here we go. It's a drag race down to the end of this race. Logan Wilson in that 76 car going to turn the 11 of Kenilworth. And that is going to be Logan Wilson spinning the leader, coming into that tri-oval to take the checkered flag. That's not going to win him any fans.
Wow.
Oh, that was ugly. Having to catch our breath at the end of all that. My lord above, Logan Wilson. Man, that was, I mean, it's not the first time that's happened in the world of racing. Certainly has happened in iRacing in the past, and it's happened in real life, if we're being completely honest. That was a lot of stuff going on. It was some nearly 4 wide action that caused a huge stack up. The 29 car getting involved in that yet again. And yeah, there you can see the second bit of contact that sent them spinning onto the inside. But then we had another one heading off. There was a bad bump to the back of the 8 car, and that was a pretty sickening thwack into that outside wall. But as they come out of 3 and 4 and run into the tri-oval, here was the moment involving Wilson and the number 11 of Kenilworth.
There was a lot unfolding on the backstretch. A bad block on the backstretch led to this crazy finish. You can see Logan Wilson goes up to the top. The inside car just keeps coming up. I mean, I don't know what else you want Logan Wilson to do right there.
Yeah, honestly, upon taking a second look at that, Logan Wilson did nothing wrong there. He held his line as best as possible. Lars Kenilworth, though, it was definitely a block out of desperation. There's 2 ways that ends. Either he ends up wrecked and finishes in 9th where he did, or ends up dropping down to probably 5th at the line. Look at those 3 cars crashing right across the line. It was a pretty close finish. Trevor Crosswhite ended up taking 2nd in the midst of all of that. Logan Wilson, Yeah, upon second glance of that, the 76 car really couldn't have done anything different in the midst of all of that. If he checked up, he probably would have lost the lead, would have lost $150 and a 3-foot tall trophy that comes with it. A messy finish nonetheless, but Logan Wilson is going to be your winner at the end of it all.
We'll let him burn it down right here, and we'll take a quick commercial break and see if we can grab some interviews.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
There is a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is partnered with more real-world tracks and companies, including Junior Motorsports, than any other group on the iRacing service.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Fast Fridays here on Maconi Entertainment. Logan Wilson is your winner at the end of it all here with the Xfinity cars at Daytona. That 50-lap race was run in rather hectic fashion and won in rather hectic fashion for Logan Wilson. 0.3 of a second is a gap to himself and Trevor Crosswhite, who finishes in P2. Daniel Solo runs at your podium in third. Vinny Tigner finishes in fourth. Nathan Peacock finishes in fifth. Jonathan Sellers is classed in at sixth. Braxton DeWeese is unable to win another one of these races, usually fast in that 49, finishes in seventh here tonight. Daniel Selway Jr. is classed in P8. Lars Kenilworth, who entered that tri-oval with the race lead, got spun coming to the line into his own admission in the 11, said that he turned himself, ends up in ninth. Carter Casey runs at your top 10. We will look through the rest of the results, but we do have some slight time constraints here, so I think we are going to get started off with interviews, and once we get through all of these drivers there, you can see the rest of them in this field. Justin Bennett, class in 30th, did not take the start, but Jeremy, I think we have Daniel Solo waiting in the interview waiting area, so I'll let you have dibs on the driver who ended up on the podium at the end of this race.
Yes, we've got Daniel Solo here, who finished in third place, was trying to have some probably good strategy up there in the front with his teammate, trying to win it all right there. What else did you guys need to come home with a trophy and some dollar signs?
Less blocking here. I don't know. I absolutely murdered myself there. And I feel really bad for Talon because he had the run there. But it is a super speedway. It is for money. I have to do it. I don't regret it, even though I feel bad. I could have definitely done that better, though.
Absolutely. It definitely came down to the wire. You live and learn from your lessons, but you came home in third. Who do you got to thank for getting you here in third place tonight?
First of all, Howie for something. I don't know. Thank you, Howie. And just the guys in the Joe Cal. Fun hanging out with them, racing this. And Talon for the very beautiful paints tonight.
Awesome stuff. Well, Daniel, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on third place, and hopefully we'll see you at the next money race.
Thank you.
And that right there was Daniel Solo, who was one of our podium finishers at the end of this race. And before we move off into the next, I believe the other driver that we have joining us now is going to be Logan Wilson, our winner at the end of it all here today. Logan Wilson now joining us in the commentary booth. Logan, congratulations on the win. Well done on that race. How do you talk us through this hectic one here at Daytona?
It was hectic. Sometimes paints do help. All the pink cars, I just began thinking they're probably in some way working together. So I just thought I'll just sit in behind them, and if they go racing each other, maybe something will happen and they'll all fall apart and I'll take the lead.
Yeah, I want to ask you about your perspective at the end of that race, and I will also say the 11, who has been in contact with our producer Howie Burrows. No hard feelings about all that. The 11 pretty much said that they turned themselves coming to the end of that race. So I want to ask you about that last lap because holy cow, that was a rather dicey finish.
Yeah, I just sat right behind him and had no idea what else was going on except for what I saw in my mirror. I thought there was still 2 cars in front of me, and then I realized, oh wait, there's only the one. I did
Yeah,
also coming across the line. It felt kind of bad of how that finished. I thought Heath was coming up, and I tried to hook a left and try to get underneath him, and it was just both having the same idea of him coming up. I go down, and there was no space in between us.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate way for the race to end, but still grabbing the checkered flag. And again, the 11 not holding any hard feelings towards that. Still grabbing the checkered flag for you and the $150 along with that trophy that comes along with it. So, Logan, congratulations on the prize at the end of this race. And hope to see you at some point here on Maconi Entertainment in the not too far off future. Is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Nobody really. Really thanks to Maconi for putting this up. I've only seen one other event of this. It was something around Atlanta that I had fun in, but didn't finish well in. It was fun to come out and see this event at Daytona.
And well done on the victory nonetheless, Logan. And as our producer just said, make sure you get in contact with the boss man, Jeff Maconi, so you can pick up that prize at the end of all this. But Logan, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on picking up the prize here on Fast Fridays. And hope to see you at some point soon. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
And that right there was Logan Wilson, your winner at the end of this race. A race of hecticness, a race of drama, and a race of some drivers having a heck of a lot of fun, looking to grab some good prizes at the end of all of this. Jeremy, final thoughts before we wrap things up.
That was a Daytona race for $150. That is all I can say, but it was a blast to be up here. Great to work with you, Ron and Howie. Got to thank Maconi Setup Shop for putting this on, and can't wait for next month.
And the fun doesn't stop here on Maconi Entertainment. We got races weekly. We got broadcasts weekly. We also got a broadcast coming up later on this evening of the Friday Night Lights Full-Length Cup Challenge Xfinity Series. That's a first Dash for Cash race. Those drivers looking for a pretty good prize at the end of tonight as well. And hopefully all of you will be able to tune into that broadcast as well. But as for this broadcast tonight, this evening for Fast Fridays here at with the Xfinity cars at Daytona, I think that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Mullins, Jeremy Briggs joining me in the commentary booth, and Howie Burrows doing a wonderful job working on the cameras in the virtual production hauler, I say thank you also very much for watching this broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment tonight, and stay tuned for the Friday Night Lights broadcast coming up in about 15 minutes time.